James Oxygen and Supply, from residential to industrial, a locally owned family business serving Western North Carolina since 1956.
I'm Ralph Mangum for the WHKY News, where it's time now for our weekly review of the crime stories we had for you during the past week. That's April 28th through May 2. Here we go.
A pedestrian was struck by a vehicle in Morganton, and a driver has been charged. Sunday at 1:37 p.m., Morganton public safety officers responded to the area of Carbon City Road at Independence Boulevard in reference to a pedestrian being struck by a car. Officers saw the individual who was struck in the roadway near a red Honda Civic. The investigation revealed that Sarah Martinez was making a right turn off of Carbon City Road onto Independence Boulevard under a steady green traffic light. The pedestrian began to walk across the road inside the marked crosswalk and was reportedly struck by Martinez. The pedestrian suffered head injuries and was transported to UNC Blue Ridge by Burke County EMS. Martinez has been charged with failure to yield to pedestrian in a crosswalk and failure to reduce speed to avoid colliding with a person. I'm Ariana Mack for WHKY.
23-year-old Kellen Page O'Daniel was apprehended on Friday by Alexander County Sheriff's officers. According to our news partner, WACB, he is charged with failure to appear on counts of felony robbery with a dangerous weapon and felony possession of cocaine. He was served warrants for failure to appear on charges that date to a 2024 arrest. O'Daniel, along with 4 other suspects, were arrested by the sheriff's office following an alleged armed robbery on Three Forks Church Road. According to our news partner, on May 17th of 2024, the Alexander County 911 Center received a call of an armed robbery on that road. The caller said they were following the vehicle and gunshots had been fired. The caller continued to follow the vehicle. The suspect vehicle was stopped at Barrett Mountain Road and Church Road by Taylorsville Police. Alexander County deputies then met with the victims, who said they were robbed of approximately $140 in cash at gunpoint. The victim said the weapon used looked like an Uzi pistol. A search of the suspect vehicle resulted in officers finding a MAC-9 pistol. No injuries occurred. Later that day, O'Daniel was charged with robbery with a dangerous weapon and going armed to the terror of the people. O'Daniel was jailed in the Alexander County Detention Center following Friday's arrest under $300,000 bond. As of the time I'm filing this report, no court dates were listed. You can get more information on this case by going to this story at our website, WHKY.com. Reporting from Alexander County, I'm Rob Eastwood, WHKY News.
The Burke County Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's help in locating 44-year-old Morris Grady Summerlin of Heartland Trail in Morganton. Summerlin is the suspect in a recent breaking and entering incident at a construction site on Joyner Way in Morganton. On April 23rd, deputies responded to a reported break-in at the property. Officers met with the property owner, who provided security footage of the suspect from April 22nd at 8:27 p.m. The video shows an SUV entering the driveway and the driver briefly exiting the vehicle to inspect the front gate before leaving the scene. The same vehicle returned on April 23rd at about 12:13 a.m. The suspect exited the SUV, retrieved tools, dismantled the gate, and proceeded to enter the home through the garage, removing several items. Interior surveillance video provided a clear image of the suspect, who's described as a male in his early 40s with brown hair, a trimmed mustache, and a goatee. At the time of the incident, he was wearing a dark blue North Face hoodie and blue jeans. The suspect was identified as Morris Grady Summerlin. During the incident, he was driving a 2002 Burgundy Honda CR-V. He was last seen driving a green 2002 Ford F-250 traveling on 18 North toward Caldwell County. Warrants have been issued for Summerlin's arrest on felony counts of breaking and entering and larceny, plus a misdemeanor count of injury to personal property. Anyone with information regarding Summerlin's whereabouts should call the Sheriff's Office, 828-438-5500.
35-year-old Nicholas James Shoup and 32-year-old Tracy Shane Campos, both from the same address on Hidden Creek Circle in Mountain View, were arrested by Catawba County narcotics investigators Saturday morning on charges of trafficking opium or heroin by possession and transportation, felony possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, carrying a concealed gun, and possession of drug paraphernalia. In addition, Shoup was charged with maintaining a vehicle for a controlled substance and possession of a stolen firearm. They were arrested in connection with an ongoing investigation in which narcotics officers seized 60 grams of fentanyl, 3 grams of methamphetamine, 2 firearms, and drug paraphernalia. Those items were seized during a vehicle stop on U.S. Highway 321. One of the seized firearms was reported stolen from Lincoln County. Both suspects were jailed in the Catawba County detention facility with bonds set for Shoup at $750,000 secured, while Campos was given a $700,000 secured bond. First appearances in district court were scheduled for April 28th in Newton. I'm Ariana Mack for WHKY News. A worker in a roadway was struck and killed in a collision Tuesday night. The deceased is 35-year-old Brandon Scott Carpenter of Dallas, North Carolina. On Tuesday at approximately 7:40 p.m., the NC State Highway Patrol responded to a fatal collision in Lincoln County on NC 27 near NC 150. A 2014 Mack garbage truck was stopped in the travel lane while performing its duties. A 2011 Toyota Camry traveling west on NC 27 failed to adequately reduce speed and struck a worker in the roadway at the rear of the truck. The worker, Brandon Scott Carpenter, was transported to an area hospital where he passed away from his injuries. The driver of the Camry, 35-year-old Danica Lachey Borders of Lincolnton, was not injured. The initial investigation does not indicate impairment to be a contributing factor. Borders was charged with misdemeanor death by vehicle and failure to reduce speed. During the on-scene investigation, the roadway was closed in the area for approximately 2 hours. No other workers on the commercially operated truck were injured.
33-year-old Miles Reed Morgan was arrested by Mooresville police on April 25th on 10 counts apiece of second and third degree sexual exploitation of a minor. The suspect was arrested after officers responded to the Waterland subdivision in reference to a report alleging that explicit material involving children was found on Morgan's devices. Officers found the reporting party and the child sexual abuse material. Officers took Morgan into custody and searched his residence. Additional electronic devices were seized and further investigation is underway. Morgan was jailed in Iredell County under a $1.2 million secured bond with a court date set for May 16th. Anyone with information or involvement with Morgan should call Mooresville Police 704-664-3311.
Wanted suspects are being sought in Burke County. The Burke County Sheriff's Office posted the list of wanted individuals earlier this week. 40-year-old Roger Lee Sparks is wanted on felony counts of possession of Schedule II controlled substance and probation violation, along with misdemeanor counts of probation violation out of county and resisting a public officer. Sparks's last known address was 304 Lot 2, Highway 70A in Hildebrand. Sparks was added to the most wanted list on Monday, April 28th. And 52-year-old Angela Powell Carpenter is wanted on a felony count of possession of methamphetamine, along with counts of misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia and driving while license revoked. Carpenter's last known address was 5346 Powerhouse Road in Morganton. She was added to the most wanted list on January 14th, 2025. Anyone with information as to their whereabouts is urged to contact the Sheriff's Office at 828-438-5500 or email burkesheriff@burkenc.org. I'm Ariana Mack for WHKY News. Charges filed against a man arrested in connection to a fatal crash last month have been upgraded after further investigation and consultation with the Iredell County District Attorney's Office. 31-year-old Benjamin Wesley Overton of Walkertown, NC, is now charged with 2 counts of aggravated felony death by vehicle and 2 counts of second-degree murder. As WHKY previously reported, on Saturday, April 19th at 10:10 p.m., the NC State Highway Patrol responded to a fatal collision in Iredell County on I-77 South near mile marker 62. A 2006 Ford F-250 was traveling south on I-77 and struck a southbound 2023 Kia Sportage. This collision caused both vehicles to travel off the right side of the road and collide with the guardrail, causing the Kia to overturn. The driver of the Ford, Overton, was not injured. The driver of the Kia, 47-year-old Jessica Lindsay Horton of Mooresville, and a passenger, 47-year-old Patricia Marie Asorno of Mooresville, were ejected from the vehicle and passed away as a result of their injuries at the scene. The initial investigation indicated excessive speed and impairment to be contributing factors in the collision. Overton was arrested and initially charged with driving while impaired, careless and reckless driving, 2 counts of felony death by vehicle, and driving while license revoked. Overton was placed in the Iredell County Detention Center under $2.5 million bond. Following the arrest, he remained in custody as of earlier May 1st. I'm Ariana Mack for WHKY.
27-year-old Paige Nicole Blue, who was reported to be from Caldwell County but currently lists an address in Lehigh Acres, Florida, was arrested by Lenoir police on April 30th. She's charged with first-degree murder, child abuse with serious physical injury, possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Lenoir police arrested Blue following her extradition from Lee County, Florida. The arrest is the result of an investigation into the death of Blue's 7-month-old child. In March 2023, during the early morning hours, Lenoir police and emergency medical personnel responded to an address on Forest Hill Park Place in Lenoir where an infant was in cardiac arrest. First responders found the child unresponsive. Life-saving efforts were initiated, but the infant was pronounced deceased nearly an hour later. The cause of death was determined to be fentanyl toxicity. Blue was jailed in Caldwell County without bond. A district court date was set for May 1st.
The woman arrested and charged in this case is 33-year-old Brittany Morgan Faust of Ronquil Park Place in Lenoir. She was arrested by the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office and was charged with felony death by distribution. According to a news release from the Sheriff's Office, on Wednesday, deputies responded to a suspected overdose death in the Oak Hill community of Caldwell County. After an investigation was conducted by the Sheriff's Office, Brittany Morgan Faust was identified as the individual who distributed the drugs that led to the victim's death. According to the Sheriff's Office, the charge carries serious penalties for individuals who unlawfully distribute controlled substances that directly result in the death of another. Faust was placed in the Caldwell County Detention Center in Lenoir following the arrest. Bond was set at $1 million. A district court date is scheduled for May 8th in Lenoir. The investigation is continuing and additional charges are possible.
According to our news partner, WACB, 53-year-old Cody Lynn Sharp of Taylorsville is now facing 10 additional charges involving the alleged downloading of child pornography. On April 14th, as we previously reported, Sharp was arrested by Alexander County Sheriff's officers and charged with 11 counts of felony second-degree sexual exploitation of a child. An ongoing investigation resulted in the additional charges. Sharp has remained in custody with bond now set at over $2 million secured. He'll appear in district court on May 5th. And 22-year-old Jonathan Masail Paz Molina of Lincolnton was arrested by Lincoln County Sheriff's officers on April 29th on 7 felony counts of statutory rape of a child. According to detectives, Paz Molina had sexual intercourse with a 15-year-old female on multiple occasions. The juvenile was living with the man at the time of the investigation and was placed in Lincoln County DSS custody pending placement. Detectives say the man is not related to the juvenile, who is not originally from North Carolina. Paz Molina, who is thought to be originally from Honduras, was placed in the Harvin A. Krause Detention Center under a no-hold bond. He was also placed on an immigration detainer. A court date was set for May 20th. The investigation is ongoing.
A man was killed in a Burke County crash Thursday, May 1st, and an individual has been arrested. The deceased is 67-year-old Rex Ivy Powell of Morganton. On Thursday at approximately 1:40 p.m., the North Carolina State Highway Patrol responded to NC 181 at Bowman Avenue. A 2015 FedEx delivery truck traveling east on Bowman Avenue attempted to cross over NC 181 from a stop sign and struck a northbound 2006 Nissan Frontier. This collision caused the Nissan to collide with the guardrail and overturn. The driver of the Frontier, Rex Ivy Powell, was ejected from the vehicle and passed away from his injuries at the scene. He was not restrained by a seatbelt. The driver of the delivery truck, 27-year-old Talmadge James Belcher of Lenoir, was transported by EMS to an area hospital with minor injuries. The initial investigation does not indicate impairment or speed to be contributing factors. Belcher was charged with misdemeanor death by vehicle and failure to yield the right-of-way. During the on-scene investigation, the roadway was partially closed in the area for approximately 2 hours. I'm Ariana Mack for WHKY News.
All three of the individuals list the same Pax Hill Road, Morganton address. They all entered guilty pleas to concealing a body. According to a news release from the Burke County Sheriff's Office, 59-year-old Robert Ford Dale Jr. was sentenced to 89 to 119 months in prison. 35-year-old Rocky Lee Dale received a sentence of 72 to 99 months, and 51-year-old Lori Knight Stevens received a prison sentence of 38 to 58 months. On August 30th of last year, the Burke County Sheriff's Office responded to the area of Corpening Bridge Road near the canoe access in reference to a death investigation. A group of individuals kayaking on Johns River said they had found human remains near the Corpening Bridge. Further investigation led to the Burke County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigations Division executing a search warrant at an address on Pax Hill Road in Morganton. As a result of the search warrant, the three defendants were arrested and charged. So once again, prison sentences for three defendants who were charged with concealing a body in the case involving the death of Mark Dwayne Mitchell in Burke County last year. Reporting from Burke County, I'm Rob Eastwood, WHKY News. This nationwide initiative's goal is to curb illegal immigration, also eliminate cartels and transnational criminal organizations, and protect local communities from perpetrators of violent crime. There are two individuals from the Hickory Metro among those who have been charged. 33-year-old Stephen Tyler Philbeck of Lincolnton was charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime, and distribution of methamphetamine. The indictment alleges that Philbeck distributed methamphetamine in Catawba County in February of this year and illegally possessed a Glock 19 9mm handgun in furtherance of drug trafficking activity. 47-year-old Norris LaShane Myers of Lenoir was charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The indictment alleges that Myers, who is a convicted felon, possessed a Taurus 9mm handgun. Additional defendants are from Charlotte, Huntersville, Monroe, Mexico, Honduras, and Guatemala. In making the announcement, U.S. Attorney Ferguson credited a number of agencies for their assistance, including the Catawba County Sheriff's Office, the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office, and Hickory Police Department. Reporting for WHKY News, I'm Rob Eastwood.
44-year-old Morris Grady Summerlin of Antioch Road in Morganton has been arrested by Burke County Sheriff's officers after 3 days on the county's most wanted list. He was charged with felony counts of breaking and entering and larceny, along with a misdemeanor count of injury to personal property. He was wanted in connection with an April 23rd break-in at a construction site on Joyner Way in Morganton, as previously reported by WHKY. The arrest was made on May 1st thanks to an anonymous tip from a concerned citizen who told the sheriff's office that Summerlin was in the area of Greenhaven Court in Morganton. When officers responded, Summerlin attempted to flee but was taken into custody without further incident. He was served with multiple outstanding warrants from both Burke and Caldwell counties. Summerlin was jailed under a $15,000 secured bond with a court date scheduled May 2nd in Morganton. 68-year-old Richard Eugene Stikelether of Taylorsville was arrested Thursday evening and charged with failure to notify law enforcement of an address change as a registered sex offender. He's being held in the Alexander County Jail under a $75,000 bond. No court dates are currently listed. Stikelether was convicted in 2011 of indecent liberties with a minor in Catawba County. Thanks to WHKY's Rick Gilbert for that information.
That's correct, Ralph. 34-year-old Jonathan Patrick Chapman, a former Morganton public safety officer, has been arrested and charged with driving while impaired, misdemeanor child abuse, and a stoplight violation. At about 7:10 p.m. on April 17th, the North Carolina State Highway Patrol assisted Morganton Public Safety with a vehicle collision on U.S. Highway 64 or Burkemont Avenue at the intersection with Interstate 40. A 2017 Chevrolet Equinox driven by Chapman was westbound on the 140 exit ramp when the Chevy entered the intersection on a red light and struck two vehicles. Neither Chapman nor a juvenile passenger in the vehicle sustained any injuries. The other driver involved were not injured. According to a published report, the juvenile is Chapman's child. The investigation indicates impairment to be the contributing factor. According to the published reports, Chapman blew a 0.17 on the highway patrol's breathalyzer. Chapman will appear in district court on June 26th in Morganton. He reportedly resigned from Morganton Public Safety on April 20th. I'm Ariana Mack for WHKY News.
This has been our weekly roundup of a few of the crime stories we had for you last week. That's the week of April 28th through May 2nd. Our weekly summary is posted every Saturday on the WHKY YouTube channel, along with all the rest of the WHKY news. I'm Ralph Mangum, and I thank you for your continued support, and I thank you for joining us.